What Ruben Amorim learned as Man United lose at Nottingham Forest thanks to massive mistake. Manchester United fell to defeat away at Nottingham Forest as former Carrington star Anthony Elanga came back to haunt his former club as he scored the game's only goal. Ruben Amorim saw his Manchester United side beaten 1-0 by Nottingham Forest in their return to Premier League action. United travelled to the City Ground looking to set the record straight from the 3-2 defeat at Old Trafford in December. Amorim was just weeks into his tenure then, and the journey of the road back to the top didn't look so long and painful for the Red Devils. But the night got off to the worst possible start for the visitors when former Carrington Academy graduate Anthony Elanga opened the scoring just 5 minutes into the game as he found the perfect finishing touch to a sublime solo run from deep inside his own half. United reacted well and with a better team for the remainder of the first half as they pushed for an equalizer, dominating the ball and providing the majority of the efforts on goal, but were unable to get on level terms. However, United commanded less control of the contest and Forest took the initiative after the break following Amorim's decision to withdraw Manuel Ugarte for Rasmus Højlund. An attacking change meant to see the visitors make their advantage count appeared to backfire. United showed their teeth again in the final third of the game but were unable to find an equalizer after Mason Mount went the closest on his return from injury before Harry Maguire saw a last-gasp effort cleared off the line. United allowed Elanga to leave Old Trafford for just £15 million in 2023, and the Swede has proved to be a bargain for Forest. Notching 11 goals and 17 assists in the Premier League since for the Tricky Trees, after registering just 8 goal involvements for United in 55 games, Elanga has gone on to find form and freedom away from Old Trafford. This isn't taking aim at United's decision to sell Elanga, while maybe premature given he's only 22. Elanga went the entire 2022-23 season without a goal and his quality to play for the Red Devils was regularly scrutinized. However, it's another case of a player starring away from the theater of dreams after being deemed not good enough. An all-too-common damning verdict of the state of the club, and made worse when it directly damages them. Elanga will receive the plaudits, and rightly so. But United's defending for the goal was woeful. After picking the ball up from the halfway line, Elanga brushed off Alejandro Garnacho's tackle with ease as he exploded almost the length of the pitch. And his run evidently struck fear in Patrick Dorgu and Noussair Mazraoui. As he reached the edge of the box unchallenged, Elanga slowed down to set himself for the strike. And if it wasn't bad enough, no United player had closed him down earlier and were too naive to foul him, he was allowed to pull the trigger in his own time. Neither Mazraoui or Dorgu made an attempt to challenge Elanga and showed again that United have been a soft touch defensively and in transition all too often. Kobbie Mainoo. The way the game panned out would have seemingly been the perfect chance for Kobbie Mainoo to show his worth, with his quality and composure in possession to play forward absent with a 19-year-old missing through injury. Mainoo's future at Old Trafford is uncertain, something that would have been ridiculous to think less than 12 months ago. But his ongoing contract situation hitting the buffers, his homegrown value for financial gains, and seemingly being void of a role in Amorim's system, make a summer exit a real possibility. However, the silky midfielder would have fit the bill for United perfectly tonight. Casemiro and Ugarte were allowed plenty of time on the ball, but their inability to find a forward pass and play in tight areas as well as Mainoo really hindered United in the first half, and led to Amorim's halftime sub, which saw the Red Devils surrender the control they had. Halftime change. United dominated the ball in the first half, seeing 69% possession but were ultimately unable to break Forest down, especially when the hosts switched to a back five. Amorim's team moved the ball around well and were promising, but the Portuguese wasn't prepared to waste time as he introduced Rasmus Højlund for Manuel Ugarte, seeing Bruno Fernandes drop alongside Casemiro into midfield. However, the change saw the visitors give up their dominance in possession with Forest pressing for a second goal and looking more likely to get it after the break. Ruben Amorim explained that Harry Maguire's late introduction as an attacking substitution against Nottingham Forest was due to the state of the game. Trailing by a goal with 2 minutes of normal time to go, Maguire displaced Euro for the final moments at the City Ground, bringing about a reshuffle in our shape. While the defender is known for his prowess in the air, it was an unfamiliar attacking role that he occupied after being brought off the bench, although he was well placed on 2 occasions, for a handful of openings in stoppage time in the East Midlands. Ultimately, we couldn't find an equalizer on our return to Premier League action, as we fell to a 1-0 defeat to Nuno Espirito Santo's side, but Amorim asserted that his team needed to get more balls into the box because of the way Forest were defending, and that Maguire's aerial ability is among the best at his disposal in the United squad. He spoke more on that substitution, our ability in the final third, and took on questions about Alejandro Garnacho, plus a host of other topics, in his post-match press conference at full-time. You can now watch or read everything our head coach had to say in his media debrief by scrolling below. Ruben, do you think you deserved more from that, given the amount of possession and chances you had? I think that is clear. We create some chances, but we could create more with the possession that we had. We reached the final third a lot of times, but we need to be better in that final third because that is really important to score goals and we have a lack of goals. We start the game suffering a goal and put Nottingham in the place that they want to be, defending with a lot of men. Then they have really fast players to make transitions. Even that, we control quite well, especially in the second half we push forward, but again, in the final third, we were not good enough. It's a fantastic goal, Ruben, but was it a goal that could have been stopped? That is clear. When you have a corner, you have men to block transitions, we have all the pitch. You can make a foul. So yeah, I think if look at the game and you are the coach, you have to do better. Harry Maguire up top, an unconventional, perhaps, way to try to score a goal, but he did get one of the best chances. What did you make of that situation? Were you at all hesitant to do that? He's making everything, he's trying. Sometimes you have one day that you are doing the right things, but in the final third, you are not that good. That can happen. I was also going to ask about Garnacho as well. I know you need these chances, but do you think he's perhaps trying to play himself into form, doing too much? Because at certain times when teammates are available, it doesn't seem the best option he's choosing that can happen in the game. The most important thing again for me is when he needs to run back, he's running back. Of course, we want a player who has 1-against-1. Sometimes he's trying too much. He has Dorgu to make a movement, but I think he wants to help the team in doing his best. Sometimes he doesn't make the best choice, but that you can point to any player today. When Harry came on, in fairness to him, he did have 2 good chances. Is that a concern that a defender comes on, gets 2 chances, and then there are 2 strikers who the club have invested more than £100 million in, that didn't have many chances? No, it depends on the characteristics. Again, Nottingham was playing with a line of 6, and it's a matter also of size, in the way you have the ability to head a ball. So I don't see it that way. That can happen with any team with the best strikers in the world. The defenders sometimes are the best ones to attack a ball inside the box. So Harry was really good on that. I know this was before your time, but Elanga is obviously a United Academy boy. Does the fact that he looked such a good player tonight show mistakes of the club over the years and how recruitment is just so crucial that you have to upgrade? We are talking about a lot of front players that came from Manchester United and they are doing right, but they had their chance here. In Manchester United, you don't have the time. I am saying all the time, I will not have the time. We have to get it right fast. So we are talking about players that didn't play for Manchester United. They were here playing for Manchester United. In here, the pressure is too big sometimes. And sometimes you don't have time and you should have time for these kids to develop, but for the team, you need a strong base to support all these kids. If you don't have that strong base, we are not going to help our kids. So they had their chances, and sometimes football is like that, and the pressure of playing for Manchester United is really big. Mason Mount came back from his injury today, coming off the bench. Do you see him starting in one of the 2.10 positions behind the strikers because he was looking to get behind the defenders? If you look at the history of Mason Mount, he played in this system many times, especially in Chelsea. He played left hand, right hand, side. So I think it's a very good position for him. One of the strengths of Nottingham Forest is they move the ball from back to front really quickly. Is that something that you look them as a kind of template sometimes for your side, because sometimes you still play the ball backwards rather than going forwards. When you play a team that is really good on transition, if you transform the game like this and don't push the defenders to get near, if you lose the ball if you play with a big pitch, it's harder to block transitions. Sometimes you have to start the play again, bring the ball, and then everybody is close, starting with some speed to the ball. So, sometimes you have to take time to control the game, to dominate the game, and today, I think I'm always when I say our team didn't create chances, but today we create chances. And I think we had a lack quality in the final third, so if we have the quality, imagine the chances that we would supposed to be getting. So the game is like that. If they are good in transitions, you have to push forward first, pushing to a low block to control transitions, and we did that quite well today. You don't have that strong base, we're not going to help our kids. So they had their chances, and sometimes football is like that, and the pressure of playing for Manchester United is really big. Mason Mount came back from his injury today, coming off the bench. Do you see him starting in one of the 2-0.10 positions behind the strikers because he was looking to get behind the defenders? If you look at the history of Mason Mount, he played in this system many times, especially in Chelsea. He played left hand, right hand, side. So I think it's a very good position for him. One of the strengths of Nottingham Forest is they move the ball from back to front really quickly. Is that something that you look them as a kind of template sometimes for your side, because sometimes you still play the ball backwards rather than going forwards? When you play a team that is really good on transition, if you transform the game like this and don't push the defenders to get near, if you lose the ball if you play with a big pitch, it's harder to block transitions. Sometimes you have to start the play again, bring the ball, and then everybody is close, starting with some speed to the ball. So, sometimes you have to take time to control the game, to dominate the game, and today, I think I'm always when I say our team didn't create chances, but today we create chances. And I think we had a lack quality in the final third, so if we have the quality, imagine the chances that we would supposed to be getting. So the game is like that. If they are good in transitions, you have to push forward first, pushing to a low block to control transitions, and we did that quite well today.